A friend sent me this clip from the NBC Nightly News, and at first I was excited. It's a relatively positive, quick look at EV adoption and charging infrastructure. But the more I thought about it and then watched it again, well, you'll see. Let's get into it.
The dream of America has always been the dream of the open road, but that dream falls apart if your car runs out of juice.
Yep, if you run out of gas or electricity, you're gonna have a crappy trip. Basic planning is important no matter what you drive, and it's just part of being an adult.
The Biden administration is spending more than $7 billion to put 500,000 chargers on American roads. But we have a long way to go.
If we have a long way to go, then it's probably a good idea that there's some funding here. And we'll get back to this, but just remember it for now.
We borrowed this Bolt from Chevrolet because it's the most affordable American-made electric vehicle out there.
It starts at about $25,000.
Now, he's actually driving the Bolt EUV, which is a couple grand more expensive and has a slightly lower range of 247 miles of EPA estimated range. But that doesn't change a whole lot going forward in this piece. The basic Bolt is a great bargain, starts at $25,600 and a range of 256 miles. It's got a slight Achilles heel for road trips of a slow charging rate, but it's still a capable car. And remember, a range of 258 miles or 247 for the EUV model.
Now, California is really the model of what the U.S. is going to need to look like. And to show you that, we're going to drive 120 miles between Los Angeles and San Diego.
So California is the model. And to get the rest of the country there, it'll take an investment in infrastructure, which they've already said is being made, but hasn't been implemented yet. Here's where it starts to get goofy, though. They're showcasing this 120-mile drive in a vehicle that gets 247 miles of EPA-rated range. In other words, a car that wouldn't need to stop for a charge. But they spend the next few clips talking about how easy it is and how much charging is available. Now, obviously, this is the model that we want to replicate, and we want it easy to charge no matter where you are or whatever your state of charge is.
I made it to San Diego with 95 miles left over, but here's the thing, it's not this easy everywhere. This is Houston, Texas, and today I'm going to drive roughly the same distance from here to Austin in the same model car.
Okay, now we don't know where they started or ended, but Houston to Austin is about 162 miles, a bit more than the 120-mile California trip, but not that big of a difference and still well within the range of the 247-mile vehicle. Should be no problem, and if you own the Bolt, you know you can make it without a stop. But if you were concerned, you could always check a Better Route Planner, which is a great EV planning tool, and you would see that if you left Houston with 90%, you'd arrive in Austin with 12% to spare.
Major cities and a major highway, but charging is a major inconvenience.
Charging is a major inconvenience, I guess, if you don't plan enough charge before you leave or hit a charging station before you leave town like you would a gas station before going on a trip, it can be inconvenient. Let's take a look at charging options for the Bolt between Houston and Austin using Electrify America, the largest non-Tesla fast charging network so far in the country. Here we see they have a station in Columbus, Texas, and if it was operational that day, it makes the most sense to stop there, get a fast charge as fast as the Bolt can take.
We're coming up on our halfway point, LaGrange, Texas.
Wait, if you needed it, why would you pass your best charging option in Columbus and go on to LaGrange, even though it's the halfway point? Well, maybe they checked PlugShare and found that the EA station was down like it is today when I'm recording. EA reliability is a much broader topic that other people can cover much better than I can. But PlugShare is a super site that gives real-time situations at charging stations from real user experiences. And like I said, the day I'm filming this, Electrify America station in Columbus is down for maintenance. So let's check the LaGrange area.
Texas is, in fact, one of the most charging-ready states.
Really? It is? I'd love to see a source on that. I know the supercharger network is pretty healthy here, but I don't know about fast charging options for other vehicles. Maybe the cities have a lot of level 2 charging options. Sorry, this just surprised me.
But it's no California. I really only have a couple of options. There's this one at a Domino's. How often have you seen these things in use?
Okay, so they probably used PlugShare to know to avoid Columbus. But that means they would have seen the level 2 chargers at the Domino's have also not been working. And I get it, they're telling a story, and part of the story is, unfortunately, some chargers are offline or older and broken and need to be repaired. That's definitely a good topic that needs to be discussed. So they get that obligatory shot of the Domino's employee saying that nobody ever uses them. Now, it might be true, but one employee's experience is hardly hard evidence. But what it does do is paint a subtle picture of a dystopian future where there's no place to charge and everything's broken. If only there were some investment being made into better EV infrastructure.
At this point, our final option, one random charger at this antique dealer's DIY hotel.
The only option is this hotel. Unless you knew you were going to stop at a level 2 hotel charger along the way, in which case you could have taken the more northern route where there are plenty of hotels and things along that route. Level 2 charging is a great amenity that some hotels offer, sometimes complimentary to EV drivers, and it's great, slower charging for overnights like you'd have in your garage. It's very cool that this place has a charger for their guests, but I have a feeling they picked this place more because it's a quirky stop rather than really needing the range.
Oh man, this is literally my last chance. I do not have the mileage to get to Austin.
Not enough miles to get to Austin after driving 17 miles from the Domino's to Round Top, Texas. Remember that.
Charge cord not fully inserted.
Confound these infernal machines!
Charging. Yes. We're going to make it to Austin.
Half an hour on this old school charger got me an extra 15 miles.
Old school charger? It's basically brand new. It's just a lower speed connector like someone would have in their garage or a hotel would offer for their guests for overnight charging. Again, very cool that the owner put this in here. Now here's the real puzzle. In 30 minutes, they gained 15 miles. Now, I know the differences between level 2 AC charging and DC fast charging that you would use for road trips, but most non-EV drivers don't. And what's presented here without comment is that EVs will take forever to charge. You'll be stuck in some small town for hours cursing all of creation while you wait. Now, level 2 charging can be great, and in some cases it can be kind of like a gas can and save your butt. But it's not meant for fast travel. Also, remember that trip from Domino's was 17 miles? And let's say it's only 10 miles back to the interstate. That's 27 miles out of their range to go somewhere where they could gain 15 miles. Meaning they really didn't need that charge, and
I do not have the mileage to get to Austin.
Was more about creating drama and casting doubt on what EVs can do.
If you live in the wrong part of the state and you drive for a living, this doesn't work.
Here I agree with a caveat. In some places, owning an EV is still really difficult. They can't handle every job, there just aren't enough models out, and importantly, more workhorse models at affordable price points need to come out. But if you live here and can charge at home, or in a barn with a welding plug, or in a shop or something, you have all that range starting from home. That means you don't need fast charging near you. You need it within your range circle to get you to your next stop on a road trip. If you live in Round Top with a Bolt and can charge at home, this opens up a lot of options.
In California, EVs are already a part of life, but here in Texas, they've only just begun to spend federal money to make that possible. We just barely made it here.
Not really, but because it's night now, it feels like this manufactured charging ordeal took all day. Man, EVs must be exhausting. And Texas is just starting to spend federal money here, most of which won't be available or spent until 2023 or later. So it works now, and it's about to get a whole lot better.
And right now, that is the story of driving an EV long distances across so much of America. Jake Ward, NBC News, Austin, and San Diego.
Okay, first, I understand that there was probably no ill intent here. It's really tough to cut a story like this in under 3 minutes and give a broad perspective. I'd guess the writers and editors probably aren't EV owners, and so some of the negative subtext is probably just coincidence. But it still has an effect on the people watching. The basic point is still correct, though. Life with an EV in California is a breeze, and it is tougher in other states. Here in Minnesota, it's pretty good, but we still have a long way to go too. We need more infrastructure soon, but that's why there is that massive public investment as well as plenty of private investments happening. I'm sure they were going for that California versus Texas angle, but really I would have liked to have seen them go someplace like the Dakotas or Montana, where for non-Tesla EVs, it is a charging wasteland still. Getting that infrastructure in place in those areas not only makes it more viable for someone to own an electric vehicle in those states, it makes traveling through some of those beautiful areas or to some of those beautiful areas a lot easier for EV drivers and opens up major travel corridors across the northern part of the country. Where there is basic infrastructure, many two-car families could easily switch one of those to electric, especially if you have the option of charging at home. I know some folks here in Minnesota and some even in North Dakota who just use a 120 volt plug regular household outlet in their garage to charge their EVs. Now, day to day they don't travel much, and when they do road trips, then they switch over to using the fast chargers along the route. And this is a Bolt story, so I've tried to keep the T word to a minimum, but frankly, a lot of these areas and issues have already been solved by Tesla. There are plenty of supercharger options between Houston and Austin, and across the Dakotas and Montana, already the major interstates have been covered. And the network is growing rapidly. Tesla has said they plan to open the supercharger network to other EVs, and I would expect that to happen sometime here in 2023 in North America. And that single move would almost eliminate the issues in this story. Depending on how they roll it out, almost overnight, Bolt owners could travel as easily as Model 3 owners without any worry in some of these tougher areas. It's something I'm personally really excited for. The federal investment will still be needed long term. Right now, EVs make up about 3 to 5% of auto sales. And over this next decade, that's really going to balloon. People who are going to travel are going to need lots of options for fast charging on the road, and people who live in apartments or can't charge at home are going to need reliable public charging nearby. So there's work to be done, but it will be. Most of the vehicles out today are really capable. Now we just need prices to come down so that the Bolt isn't the only affordable option with good range, but that's a topic for a whole nother video that we don't have time to get into today. Let me know if you have any questions below or if I missed something. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and happy road tripping. Thanks.